Sometimes things are already factored, and sometimes we're going to need to factor. So in A, p minus 1 over p minus 2 plus p plus 3 over p plus 1. We can group things that are added or subtracted together, so that makes these like factors. And then we look in those blue brackets and say, is there anything else that could be factored even further? And none of them can be factored. So now, oh, I forgot to leave space in front of this one. I'll just have to write smaller. But we look at our denominators because in order to add fractions, we need a common denominator. And that means that each of the factors need to be the same. This one has a p plus 1, but it doesn't have a p minus 2. And this one has a p minus 2, but it doesn't have a p plus 1. So we're going to add the factor of p plus 1 here, but if we do that on the bottom, we have to do that on the top. And here we're going to add p minus 2 and p minus 2. And that will give us a common denominator of p plus 1, p minus 2. And I would leave it factored. But in our numerator, we're going to need to combine like terms. So I'm going to put the plus sign in between. I'm going to put a set of brackets here and a set of brackets here. And I'm going to multiply these up. Do you see that p plus 1, p minus 1 will be the difference of squares? So that'll be p squared minus 1. And hopefully by now you're really good at FOILing that you can just do it all in one step. Right? So p times p squared, outside and inside combined, so do that all in one step. My outside is minus 2p, my inside is plus 3p, that'll be plus 1p. And then 3 times minus 2 minus 6 in the end. So I expanded both of those separately. I kept them in those blue brackets there. Now, do I have like terms? I do. And I know it's kind of annoying to rewrite the bottom each time, but please do. Because if you just start working on one part and not write the other part, I have to take off marks for it not being equivalent. Every line that you write has to be equivalent to what you had above. So even though we're just working on the top, you still have to write the bottom all the way through. So now these are like terms. That'll give me 2p squared. I just have the 1p plus p minus 1 minus 6 minus 7. And then we're going to have to check, can the top be factored? Just make a little note. So you're going to also have to get good at recognizing or looking at something and as quick as possible say, I can't factor that for mental math. Right? Because I'd have to have, here, this is what's going through my head here. It would have to be 2p and p, and 7 would have to be 1 and 7 or 7 and 1. Can you see if you did 7 and 1 or 1 and 7, there's no way your outside and inside can ever make 1. How quick could you do that in your head? Because you're going to have to check that. And you're going to find that all this mental math is really what helps you go faster in doing these questions or holds you back. So the more you practice, the more you get better at it. And of course the textbooks probably, did they write the non-permissible values? It's been a theme, they've been doing that all along. So -1 would cause the first factor to divide by 0. 2 would cause the second one to divide by 0. Now I'm going to start B. This time I'm going to leave space in front. And in B, we have 2 over e minus 3 minus 3e over, and then 9 minus e squared, I am going to factor right away. It's a difference of squares. So it would be 3 plus e, 3 minus e. And here's where things can get a little bit complicated. You need to remember this special note that we had before, that 3 minus e is equal to negative e minus 3. Because that's going to be important because we have an e minus 3. If we don't recognize things and make our common denominator too big, it'll make all of our math more difficult to do. So I'm going to take the time and just rewrite things. So I have 2 over e minus 3 minus 3e over 3 plus e. Take that minus 1 out, and now I have e minus 3. If you want a common denominator, okay? If you want a common denominator, this of course is grouped together. Do you notice in the first one that you are missing a 3 plus e? Agreed? So I'll need to multiply top and bottom by 3 plus e. And you have some options with a negative. And kind of frustrating when we have options because it's like, what way should I teach you? Should I teach you all the options so you can see everything? Right? Should I teach you just one option that therefore if you only have one option your life is easier because you don't have to think about all the options? Generally from a mathematics perspective it's good to see all of the options. So one of the things you could do is you could think of that minus 1 as being part of this denominator. So we could put a minus 1 there as well, because in order to add fractions, we need our denominators the same. Would that be what I would do if I was doing this question? Probably not. I would probably think about this idea. If I have a negative in a fraction, that negative can be on the bottom. It's the same as that negative being on the top. It's the same as that negative being out in front. So probably I could perfectly fine. And I would say, as far as following rules go, I think putting the minus 1 to make your denominators the same is what would be the easiest for following rules. For doing things mathematically, I actually like taking this negative and putting it in front. And what would happen if I put that negative in front and it hit the other negative? Make it a positive. So for me personally, I wouldn't have the minus 1 here. I would just think about moving that minus 1 out in front. Oh, that would make this a plus. So that's what I'm going to do, but you have options. Does it make sense that you could just make your denominators look identical with that negative there? It wouldn't be wrong. Okay? So if I continue this way, well, I have to remember that this gets distributed. So I'm going to get on the top here 6. Okay, first of all, my denominators are the same. They're 3 plus e and e minus 3. Plus sign here now, and 3 plus e and e minus 3. And if you wanted to write that 3 plus e as e plus 3, which is what I really wanted to do, but I didn't want to cause any kind of like, why'd you change that? You could. Does that make sense? That 3 plus e and e plus 3 are the same. I might change it next time because something about writing 3 plus e makes me feel funny. Because we usually write variables first, then numbers after. But, okay, I'll be all right. Thanks for your support. So 6 plus 2e there. And I had nothing that I had to do in this one, so this is just a 3e. Now we have a common denominator. Whoa, just wait for that. There we go. Now we have a common denominator, and we can write it all over one fraction. I'm going to write the e plus 3 in that way. E plus 3, e minus 3, just feels better. And do I have any like terms on the top? Sure do. 2e plus 3e will be 5e, and then I have plus 6. Top can't be factored anymore. This question would probably list the non-permissible values at the bottom. And when our answer is a single fraction in lowest terms, we're done the question. Okay? So what we're adding today is the idea that we need to factor first. That helps us get our lowest common denominator. I will tell you, if you don't see the factoring, you make the question probably like 4 or 5 times more difficult. So the factoring is super, super important for keeping things simple. Okay. Questions you can circle on this one? 3, 4b, 5, and 8.